Sandy Says Read. Welcome to the channel. This evening we are going to do a discussion of a young adult tween middle grade book called Take Care of Dexter. This book is by Clyde Robert Bulla. This was published in 1973. The pictures are by Glo Coulson, and this particular version is 68 pages. Now, you might recognize this book from, just like a couple days ago, recently here on the channel. I did an unboxing inside of another video, and we looked at this book very briefly because this is one of those foundational books from my childhood. I think the very first chapter book I ever read was The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly Cleary. I think that was the first chapter book I read. This one, Take Care of Dexter, would have been right around that same time period. This one, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, the Little House books, those were some of the first chapter books I read. Very, very foundational for me. And this one I remember. I remember reading and just being entranced by the idea of getting to take care of a pet for someone, being entrusted with that pet's care. Now, in this book, the horse, the pony, is sort of left behind. And now that I've reread it, I've got a real understanding of how he was left behind. But the pony was left behind, and the young lad was taking care of him because he really had no choice. He wanted to take care of the horse, but he really had no choice in the matter. But as a child, I just saw it as an opportunity to take care of somebody's pet. Yay! Yeah. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit in this video about some of the different themes, different ideas that I noticed now rereading this as an adult. Because boy, there's some stuff in here that's heavy hitting if you stop and think about it. Interesting. But before we start, I wanted to say a word from our sponsor, me. You guys know I'm no big deal, so I don't have sponsors here on the channel. It's just me. I'm a one-person marketing machine, so I wanted to mention to you that if you're looking for holiday gifts for people you love, I do have a merch shop. I have a shop where you can get like t-shirts and mugs and book bags and other like odd items. Anyway, so I do have a merch shop, and I will put a link to that in the drop-down box below. Most of my items they allow you to proclaim your reading comprehension skills, because that's the kind of channel we are. So I will put that link in the drop-down box below. The commercial is now over. Back to the book stuff. All right, Take Care of Dexter. The premise, basically, of this story is that a young lad, his name is Dave, he's our main character. And Dave is, I think he's about 13 when we start the story. Now, the story does cover quite a lot of ground in these 68 pages, okay? We go from the end of the school year through summer, through another school year, okay? There's quite a lot of time is covered in this 68 pages, but it goes pretty quick, okay? So he's 13 when we start. I think he's about 13 when we start. And I say that because he ages out of school during this book. And his new friend who moves into town, his name is Alex Arvin. And when Alex moves into town, he doesn't have to go to school because he's already 15. Yeah, and one of the dads in the book explains that it's the law. If you're within a certain ages 6 through 14, you have to go to school. But after age 14, you don't. So that's the time period we're dealing with here. Anyway, Dave's dad comes home from work one evening and says, hey, there's a new family moving into town. They're going to take the old Temple place. Well, the old Temple place is this rundown farm nearby, right? It's this old farmstead that really no one believes anyone would ever buy or move back into, right? It's old, it's run down, it's broken down, it's kind of dirty and in great need of repair, right? And in fact, Dave goes to the place and is able to just like walk right in, and he's walking on like broken glass and rubble, right? It's a place that's going to need some fixing up. But when the Arvins move in, they do fix it up. They put in a new mailbox. The Yeti is the mom. Yeti and Paul are Alex's parents. Yeti fixes the place up real nice. She's working hard at it. But what's interesting is with this family, there's Yeti and Paul, the parents, and Alex, the son, and then the older uncle, John, who have all moved in here together. And it turns out that the older uncle, John, actually sold his house so that they could afford to buy this farmstead. And he ends up holding that over the rest of the family's heads. Like he's not real nice, okay? He almost wants to control everything that they're doing because it's his farmstead. It's in his name. The deed is in his name. Therefore, everyone should have to do what he says when he says. And the story, it doesn't, spell that out that way, but it makes it pretty clear that Uncle John is the one calling the shots. Uncle John is the one saying, we're going to farm now. We're going to do this now. We're going to build the fence now. We're going to do this now, right? And when Alex wants to practice his trapeze skills in the barn, Uncle John doesn't want him doing that. Uncle John is like, okay, we've left that lifestyle behind. They used to be in the circus. We've left that behind, and now we're farmers. So Uncle John cuts down the trapezes. Instead of just saying, stop spending so much time doing that, you need to be working on the farm. Instead, he just cuts them down. And that's disappointing. Of course, that's disappointing. Excuse me. So we see through the eyes of Dave. We see through a young child's eyes things that are going on, and we're getting hints of what kind of person this Uncle John is. And as a child reading this, I didn't really pick up on those nuances. I just saw there's a family next door. The family next door has a son. The son is a friend to Dave, and the son has a pony named Dexter. And that's what I was cluing in on, was this pony, because wow, that was cool, right? And Dave and Alex develop a friendship, and they take care of this horse together. And one night, there's a storm, and the storm knocks out the power and knocks out the phone lines. And during that storm, the sheriff's department is sent out to the farm because Uncle John is kicking his family out. He's making them leave. He's evicting them. And because he's doing this during the night of the storm, the sheriff's horses are put in the barn with Dexter. And there's a fight. Like the horses fight, they argue, they fight. Okay, and Dexter is injured. But there's all this turmoil going on, and the phone lines are out, and so people aren't able to communicate. And the next morning, there's still difficulty in communicating, and the family leaves. Uncle John is still there. There's news that Dexter has died, and I mean, it's traumatic. And as a child, I had read that, and I was sad about the horse, and I wasn't picking up on all the nuances about this uncle. I wasn't picking up on those things. But now as an adult, I'm reading it, and I'm seeing these themes, and I'm seeing that the adults are making excuses for John, and they're making excuses and saying, oh, well, he's sick. He's not well. And in fact, he wasn't well, and he ends up having a stroke, and he ends up going to the hospital. There are these moments in the book when we see John, and it's obvious to me as an adult now that the author, Clyde, was showing us that he's an alcoholic, that John is not all there, okay? And he's kicked out his family, and he ends up in the hospital, and he's stuck in the hospital for the rest of the book, okay? And the family, though, has gotten away, but everyone else believes that Dexter, the pony, has died in the barn. And Dave is sad about this, of course, and he thinks, well, the last message that Alex got to him was, take care of Dexter. So Dave interprets that to mean I'm supposed to bury the pony, which is heartbreaking, right? So he thinks I need to go bury the pony. So he and his dad go to the farm intending to do this, and John won't let them on the property, which is a shame. So when Dave does finally get back to the property at some point, John's in the hospital. Everyone thinks that the pony has passed away, but Dave thinks, well, something has happened, and he thinks that Dexter might be out there in the woods, or Alex might be out there in the woods on the property. And he goes out to the property. He doesn't find Alex, but he does find Dexter Dexter has gotten out of the barn. Dexter is out there in the woods, in the timber. He's in the wild. So Dave is able to take care of him. Dave is able to set up a little food station for him, bring him corn, bring him sweets, bring him salt, bring him stuff that he needs and help him. And he helps him through the winter. There's moments of tension because the people in the town think, well, he was injured, therefore he should probably be shot. There's moments that just are full of tension and full of angst. And I don't remember reading those when I was a kid, but now as an adult, I read them and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I don't remember that part from the story. Eventually, Alex comes back. He comes back to say hey to his friend Dave, and Dave is like, oh, your uncle is in the hospital. He goes, yeah, we know about Uncle John, whatever. And, or did you come to see Dexter? And Alex is amazed that Dexter is alive. And they go, and there's this lovely moment of reunion, and they load Dexter up on a trailer and take him to a ranch where Alex is working, and everyone lives happily ever after. Well, except for John. But, now as an adult, I'm like, I don't care what happens to that uncle. I think that the themes and ideas that I saw in this book as a child, of course, are different from the themes and the ideas that I see as an adult. And I'm surprised that these themes, I guess I'm surprised they're in there for a middle grade book like this. I mean, this is a very young audience book. There's all these pictures in it. There's a ton of pictures in it. And the idea is of friendship and helping one another and being friends to another and being there for your friend even when your friend is gone, and taking care of being responsible and taking care of things for your friend. So that ugly theme that's there about this alcoholic uncle who kicked his family out, that ugly theme just feels out of place to me in such a young book. But, I didn't pick up on it when I was a kid, so maybe it's okay. Am I rambling? I think I am. I think I'm rambling. Okay, you guys, everybody has probably read this book at some point in their lives. If you're my age, you probably read this when you were, 8, 9, 10, whatever. What do you think? What do you remember from the book? If you have read it more recently, what do you think about the themes? I mean, is the theme of an alcoholic uncle who kicks you out of your house too strong for a book of, this age? Or is that acceptable? I mean, what do you think? Tell me in the comments below. And give this video a thumbs up, because Take Care of Dexter is an awesome book, no matter which themes you pick up on. Please subscribe to the channel. Please click the bell notification icon so you are notified each time I do the random things and ask you random questions. Thank you so much for tuning in.